Hey, fantastic fam. Welcome to our community where we combine the woo and the work. We are two professional women who believe we can have it all and constantly upgrade ourselves to meet our visions. I'm Kalyani and I've chosen the off-roading path to personal development, being an entrepreneur with the journey of motherhood. I'm an economics postgraduate and I love working with all things mind and money. I've founded and sold one business and I'm now building this business that feels like fun and freedom for life.
Hi, I'm Rupali. I'm a numbers nerd turned Reiki master and many other things. I found a passion for all things wellness. I've worked in banking and finance for 15 years and I love combining that knowledge with all things energetics to create impact in a fun, easy way for others. Join us as we share the behind the scenes of us creating wealth, freedom, and magic. What if I told you that every word you speak is like a spell? It shapes your reality one thought, one word at a time. Sounds funny, doesn't it? But let's go through the power of words, language we use, the thoughts we think. Now, many people know that words carry energy, and it feels like a little bit of an overrated thing to say, or I guess people have known it and kind of moved past it and been like, okay, yeah, so what? But words do have a frequency, and basically you want to increase your frequency. If you're using low frequency words, then it feels heavy. And that's a tool I love using, heavy versus light. So what feels light for me is good for me. What feels heavy for me is not for me. And I feel when certain words are used, there are some words that I feel are heavy. And in my mind, those are low frequency words, right? So words carry energy. They impact the emotions of people around us. They impact how we think. That's the kind of, call it science, if you will. But that's what it is, right? Now, so words that have been, and here's where it gets illustrated really well. Have you noticed that as an adult, you say a lot of what your parents once said, or you somehow start using the phrases they use, the statements they would make, the way they communicate, and that's because it's repeated. It's repeated so many times growing up. You've absorbed it all. It somehow becomes your reality unconsciously. You start saying it without even realizing it until one day someone mentions, "Oh, you sound exactly like so and so." Or you think and realize, "Oh, wow, that was exactly like my dad used to say it or my mom used to say it," right? So repeated words do shape our reality. Now, exact examples of what words people use are things like "I can't," "I won't be able to," "I'm always broke," "I'm so done with it," "It's always like this," "It's more of the same," um, I never have enough money," "I'll never be able to afford this," "I always do so and so." When you're making such generalizations and big statements, then you're limiting your possibilities. You're closing off your mind. It's not just about the energy and frequency, but you're actually closing off your mind to possibilities. It's like a dead end. You're putting a dead end in front of you and saying, "This is it." And that, even just the sentence, "this is it," feels heavy to me as I say it. So I personally definitely don't want to use those words. I'm human, so I do say it every now and then, but I'm very mindful and I'm quite aware of what words I use for the thoughts I think. And with lots of kind of compassion for myself, I work on that. And so, you know, the words you repeat, the phrases you repeat, bring more of that in your life. And why is that? So why that is because of something called the RAS, which is the reticular activating system, sorry. And what that does is it's the filter between the conscious and the subconscious mind. The words you use, the thoughts you have, the beliefs you hold ultimately through the words and thoughts you think. becomes the filter that you use. That kind of, it's the lens, call it the lens that you look at the world through. So if you're wearing rosy glasses, sunglasses, literally, the world around you will look pink, right? So the RAS is essentially the filter that you look you that between your subconscious and conscious mind, and it's the filter that derives meaning from things with that perspective. So it's limiting. So the words you use impact that filter, which means it impacts everything. How you experience life, how you communicate, how your relationships are, what your career is, the trajectory it's going in, whether or not you find a job, whether or not you get opportunities. So really be careful. Words are like a spell that create reality. Now, another concept that is linked to words and something that I've played with since I've started coaching is a couple of years ago when I was going for my regular coaching, then my coach said, set intentions every day. And I thought, oh, interesting. What's the point? But I realized, and I simply, it's interesting how these things, I'm a firm believer of these things, and yet they take me by surprise. So basically, what an intention is, it's a high level kind of direction you want something to go. So let's say there's a day that I'm not looking forward to. I am hating it. I don't want to go there. I don't want to do this that I'm supposed to, or whatever it is. I wake up feeling horrible about my life. It could be as general as that, or as specific as an event I'm going for, maybe work, maybe meeting, whatever it is. Something I'm presenting at, could be very specific or high level. And what she told me is choose 3 words that describe your intention. Now, for me, because the 2 words that have always stuck to me, and Kalyani and I have often spoken about it because it resonates with her too, is ease and flow. And ease and flow have such a light energy, for me at least, that it just feels like a nice gliding way to go through the day. Ending the day thinking, wow, that went well. Wow, that was amazing, you know? So I set the intention of today is going to be full of lots of ease and flow. And by the end of it, I'm going to think, wow, that was such a nice day. Regardless of what I expect from the day, regardless of the fears I hold in my head about these events that I'm going to or the day that I'm about to have. And so if you set your way, if you set intentions in your life, whether it's the event, like I said, whether it's the day, anything, set an intention, test it out, try it out, and think about it after the fact and think, just recognize, is this what I set the intention for? And you have to be open. All of this has to be done in a fun, light energy. Because if you do it with lots of resistance and you set an intention and think that this will never work, then that does impact your outcome because you're attracting this will never work. You're going in with that energy, and the recipient or the person in front of you will feel that energy, and it's never going to play out the way you want it to. So just say, oh, I want lots of ease and flow today. And I'm going to end the day thinking, wow, that was an amazing day. And then forget about it. Then at the end of the day, do a check in. You'll be surprised that every single time it will work. Every single time. I've done this on the most difficult days. I anticipated the most difficult situations and events. And this is also where words come to play. So your intention could be your spell for the day. And so think about it. If you're having thoughts like, I hate my life, I hate my work, I hate the situation, I hate this, I hate that, then you're attracting a lot more of it. And that's what you're going to get during the day. Some situation will come up that will make it worse and highlight to you that what you think is true. If you start the day saying ease and flow, or fun, or productive, or creative, or whatever, just words like that, then just notice, have fun with the concept. I like having fun with these concepts, manifesting words, frequencies, energy. Um, and I've always found it to work. So yeah, that's your little takeaway. Have fun with this concept and share any thoughts you may have had whilst experiencing this.
We would really appreciate your feedback as reviews on the podcast app you tune in from. Support us also by sharing this podcast with 3 of your besties who would benefit from being fantastic.